unto your soul. It's
boom, bip, hit you in your lip. You already know.
What's good? What's good? What's good? This is Raw Truth Media giving you the raw content that you deservedly need. I know that notifications are not being sent out to everyone. So to help everybody out, family, make sure to share this video throughout all social media platforms. Shout out to Hoop Jargon. He says, I don't see it. Back to business with parity and competition. Go Panthers. A shout out to Prairie View A&M. Shout out to Sylvester. He says it's going to be the toughest year to be undefeated for all teams. I expect some real dog fights. It will be some dog fights. And even though FAMU, who I respect and has a great team, I don't even think they'll be undefeated. I think they'll have the best team in years. The problem is everyone has increased their talent via transfer portal, via high school recruiting. Every single team, even Mississippi Valley State, has improved in recruiting tenfold. Matter of fact, they got a talented quarterback. Well, I would say the quarterback they have, meaning Mississippi Valley State, the transfer from New Mexico State, he has a quote unquote, he's like, I would say Jeremy Musa-ish, where he can manage the game, high IQ, doesn't make bad plays. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be an automatic starter, but I wouldn't be surprised if he starts for that team. Bethune-Cookman, you don't know what they're going to do. In the second phase of the transfer portal, you never know. They may get some players from that went to Florida schools like Florida, Florida State, USF, UCF, who haven't played as much or played sparingly, and they may find a new home with Bethune-Cookman. Same with FAMU. So it's unpredictable right now. And I'm going to send a link for those who want to join the discussion. Yes, this video is live. Shout out to the brother Deputy Mario. I see those eye emojis, brother. I see Doc in the building. What it do? Speaking at Houston, Texas lingo. Shout out to H-Town. Hoop Jargon says exactly. The transfer portal is a great equalizer. It is. I like the transfer portal. I like the NIL era. So I think a little different about today's college football. And one thing I'm liking about these teams, man, they're going for it. Look at Alcorn State. Alcorn State recruited their ass off, man. And this has to be the best year that Alcorn recruited. This is why I don't see anyone going undefeated. I got my Texas brother, HBCU Overdrive, Doc Holiday in the building. What's good?
What's good, man?
Oh, you know we had to talk about this, brother.
Oh yeah, we gotta talk about this. Yeah, I'm gonna say it just like this, man. It's a lot of parity that's gonna go on in the Swac though this season. So, for a team to go undefeated during for Swac play is very hard to do. Um, even though Jackson State right now is on a 20-game conference winning streak. We're looking to tie our own record, for most conference wins, the undefeated conference wins in the last, that's 30 years, 30, 40 years.
Right.
We talk, like Zoe, Zoe was talking about this the other day on my show. Like, we're talking about something like what W.C. Gordon was doing with Jackson State back in the 80s. It's going to be kind of hard to do. And especially like Hoop just said, like that transfer portal is the great equalizer.
It is, man. And the perfect prospect to get out of the transfer portal, we talked about it before, Doc, in various spaces, are the ones who have at least played some snaps in Power 5 levels. May not started, but played some snaps. You look at Jeremy Musa played a couple snaps at Vanderbilt. He comes from FAMU, and he was the right quarterback for them. Steady quarterback. What is he? 6'3", strong, high IQ,
Yeah.
and also the equalizer. Since COVID happened, you could be a graduate senior. You could be a 6-year senior and retain your eligibility. This is new stuff, brother.
No, I mean it's true. Um, that's true. You know, like you said, you're looking at FAMU. FAMU comes back with the most experienced quarterback. Well, not the most experienced, but they come back with their starting quarterback in Jeremy Musa.
Jeremy Musa.
Um,
Um,
the
the
next on
next
the
on the
list
list
is
is
Oh, sorry about that, brother Brian. Uh, we heard background noise.
Can you hear
Let's
me
see.
now?
Yeah, I hear you now.
How are you doing? Good morning.
Doing well, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Great show, man. Always good to talk about HBCU football. Um, my answer is going undefeated in the Swac is always a bit of a it's always gonna be a bit of a task because the difference in talent is never too significant in between teams. But I think if there's one team in the Swac who I think can go undefeated, because I go to Southern, I think we usually have a pretty good team. I think there's one team in the Swac who has a chance to go undefeated this season. Just a returning talent and a style of play. I think it's probably gonna be Alcorn State. I think year in and year out they have the best O line and the best defense in the conference. I think they return, if not the most talent, but the most experienced roster. But I just think that to go undefeated in a conference like the SWAC, where the difference in talent is never too significant in between teams, is kind of not asking for too much, but it's a little unrealistic, so to speak.
I
What we saying, Doc?
I get what you
No,
no, but I get what
huh?
he's saying though. I mean, because I'm Jackson State through and through. What we did the last 2 years in conference was that was
Historic.
unbelievable. It was historic. Like you got to just to be real. Like it was historic to the point where it just it like we said it just take you back into the days of the 80s and the 90s of the SWAC where you had um where you had a Jackson State that was up there that was dominant. You had a Grambling that was dominant, but they would get ready to go on a little low. You got Alcorn with the McNair years, when Steve was down there. Southern went shoot. When Pete Richardson came into the SWAC,
They're the team of the '90s.
he turned the SWAC upside down. DJ, I'm gonna test to this. Southern with Pete Richardson and Southern University in the 90s, early 2000s was pretty much like, in a sense, the New England Patriots of college football.
What Jackson
Like,
State accomplished these last 2 years, you could akin that to those great Grambling teams of the '80s and of the '70s and '80s. The thing is, what Jackson State did basically was the fact that they made SWAC football look a little bit too easy. But
yeah,
I'll be the first person to tell you, as great as Jackson State was, and not to at all deviate away from the conversation a little bit. How about the MEAC, man? The MEAC in back-to-back years beat a historically great SWAC school. And don't get me wrong, I'll be the first person to say I respect the SWAC as a conference. I go to Southern, but as great as going undefeated in the SWAC would be, my big question is who can beat the MEAC in now in the SWAC MEAC challenge, but just in the national championship. That's my big question.
And let me answer this, my brothers. This is starting out. You guys starting out with a banger this morning, man. I like it. Um, Talking to other Jackson State fans, and this brother right here, Jack into 47, he said it best. The only monkey I'm concerned with is winning the Celebration Bowl. He's not even interested in the record. Most Jackson State fans I've talked to, yeah, they would like to go undefeated, but really, they just want to win a Celebration Bowl. And last year, I keep watching the Celebration Bowl to see what I missed out on. If Jackson State, let's keep it real, if Jackson State would have stick to zone the whole game, they would have won the game. And I respect North Carolina Central. But North Carolina Central, instead of completing 67% of their passes, only completed in the low 50s when they went to zone. The problem was
They
Dennis
kept running the
Thurman.
ball on us.
Exactly.
I got a stat for you. Yeah, I'm not a stat dude, but here's a stat for you. Back-to-back Celebration Bowls. Jackson State played against back-to-back MEAC schools. They got
hmm
held to under 100 yards rushing, gave up 200 yards rushing. That's the culprit right there. I mean, what
Oh
SWAC
yeah, that's
team
bad.
can go toe to toe? Can go toe to toe one of these MEAC schools, even a middle tier MEAC school in the line of scrimmage in the trenches? Because we've seen in multiple, except for maybe that Grambling game against North Carolina Central back in 16, for the past 10 years, whether it be the
Yeah,
MEAC SWAC challenge,
they've been
they've been
whooping
getting
our ass.
yeah, they've been whooping us in the line. It's the line of scrimmage. You could have the better quarterback. You could have the better receivers. You can even have the better coach, like Jackson State just had. But the problem is, like I just said before, you had back-to-back years where you're giving up over 200 yards rushing and only rush for less than 100 yards. That's the culprit right there to me.
And if you look at how Coach T.C. Taylor is building his team, one will say he's building it like a MAC school. I'm talking about in the trenches, offensively and defensive line.
No, you're right. You're correct. You're correct. The years that he spent in North Carolina Central under Jerry Mack, back in in the mid 2010s, he's learned a lot from him. But each stop that he's been at, he's learned from somebody. Even like we said, even
Mm-hmm.
when he played in college, he learned from he learned from a great head coach. And when I'm saying, like, he learned from Big Daddy Carson. Um, he got W.C. Gordon used to come around the school. He used to come to the school sometimes. He learned from him. He go to Texas Southern. He learned from, I forgot who was coach over there. I think it was Asbury who was the coach over there. Like I said, North Carolina Central. He learned from Jerry Mack, and then when he came back to Jackson, I'm not gonna say he didn't learn too much anything from Coach John Hendricks. He learned a little bit of something, but his real teaching, as far as managing positions, your position coaches and the rosters and stuff like that, it came from Dion. But
Hey, brothers, y'all see that comment right there by Brother Bakari? JSU was out coached 2 years in a row in the Celebration Bowl.
oh yeah, they was, they was, they was.
And
There's no doubt about that. They was our coach.
and let's discuss the elephant in the room. Shout out to Brother Robert Gaddy. Peace and blessings, my brother. He said a depleted D line in the Celebration Bowl. That was not the defense of 22. It was not.
Nah,
Now, Gaddy not being there, uh, a game that he should have played, I stand on that. And then he had injuries on that D line. The D line did not look the same. They were playing players that were rotational players on that D line at the Celebration Bowl. And when you go against a MEAC school like North Carolina Central, who has a reputable offensive lineman, that's a long day.
true. I and the Celebration Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Those 4 or 5 D linemen that didn't play, that the ones that enter in the portal, and Niles, he got suspended for silly reason. It messed up the rotation. It messed up the D line rotation. So they wasn't able to rotate the D lineman that they wanted to come up in there. But in the end, he should have. We got our coach.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that. But My thing is this: team and a personnel standpoint. Don't get me wrong, but like back-to-back years where you're getting pummeled for and you get held to less than 105 yards rushing, that's more of a trend than it is you just getting out coached. That's more of you just not necessarily having the personnel size wise to match up in the trenches. To me,
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Because wasn't that? Excuse me. If my stats may be wrong or not, please correct me if it is. Isn't that Savion's worst rushing game against North Carolina's Central?
It was his second worst rushing game.
Okay, the first one is Alabama State.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of Alabama State, their defense is not talked about enough. I like watching their defense play. They're fast. They swarm to the ball. Um, and coach, the defensive coordinator, I mean, they're tuned in, man. I think they're going to repeat that talented defensive unit this coming 2023. And if D. Davis can just play his game, they could be a sleeper team. That's why it's so tough to go undefeated in the Swac this year. The lower teams have improved. The middle of the pack teams have improved. And then the top notch teams, and you just mentioned he just left. The brother just mentioned Southern. Southern was a quarterback away, and you saw in the SWAC championship game, an improved quarterback did wonders for Southern because Southern has athletes.
I'm gonna tell you this about Southern, man. My boy, is he still on there?
No,
Dooley
he
did.
just left.
He just left.
Yeah,
Dooley did Southern a injustice, y'all. Dooley, I I'm a Jackson State fan, and I was upset with what Dooley did. You know what I'm saying? Like for the whole season, that made no sense. That made no sense whatsoever to keep that quarterback in, knowing that he was not efficient like that, and being stubborn and not want to play Butler than Daniel.
that's one of those what could have been.
Um, but like
Uh,
it's something that you were saying about. I know you said something about the lower tier teams, especially on the eastern side. You got Valley. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, Valley making them come up. You got Bethune Cookman who's going to make them come up. With Bethune Cookman, I don't see anybody. I don't see them winning more than like three or four games in his first season. But give him like two more recruiting cycles. He'll be
and,
on point.
and speaking of Bethune, a win for them is not really just a record. I know they would want to have a winning record, but if they find their go-to quarterback, whether it's high school or transfer portal, and have an identity for the future, that's a win-win for them. And also having close games. Because I think Bethune will attract some speed, especially in the portal. I I really feel that they'll be one of those scrappy teams that play hard for 4 quarters and just not enough talent total, like depth, will be the reason why they lose to a Jackson or any other team. But but I like the coach they have, and I believe uh, they're in the up and up. Back to Alabama State. I know people, scoff at Eddie Robinson Jr. and what happened with Prime last year, but Eddie Robinson Jr. is a damn good coach, and he proved a lot of people wrong because people throwing jabs at him, saying, he's an insurance salesman. They made all types of jokes, and you saw the defense he had on that field. And if the offense is more creative to D. Davis's strength, they could be a sleeper team. You just don't know this year. That's why this year in the SWAC is going to be so fun because it's unpredictable. Brother Gaddy even said it. It's going to be some serious battles this year.
Yeah.
There's going to be games where one may assume, man, this is supposed to be a blowout, but the team is still in the game.
Yep.
You never know. That could be Valley. That could be Bethune. And then what about Texas Southern that returns 58? I repeat, 58 once underclassmen, now juniors and redshirt sophomores. Then you got FAMU, who their mission is winning the Celebration Bowl, winning the SWAC championship. They got everybody back. And I remember the recruiting class, brother. They were number 2 in the SWAC, but I mentioned it and others mentioned it. That's still good enough because Southern's returning everybody. Not Southern. FAMU's returning everybody.
Yeah.
So that's just a luxury.
Yeah. I'm gonna say it like this. Your second best quarterback that's returning is Andrew Body. As long as he get back to being healthy, Texas said he's gonna make a run. Was gonna give teams a run for their money. Just like you said, looking at the depth, looking at the depth of what they got and who they brought back and what they added on to it. I look at Texas Southern being, I see them being in a contention of the Western title. But that they had to get over that hump in their first game. That
Yeah.
first game, the Labor Day Classic, they got to get over that hump. They got to beat Prairie View. They got to beat Prairie View.
Oh, that running game is to imagine because the running game last year for PV was already good, and you add Caleb Johnson. That's just, I mean, they just added nitro to the damn running game with Caleb Johnson, and you got all your offensive line back. Man, there's not too many FCS teams that have that luxury.
Your only knock is the quarterback, but I think Conley is going to be a better. He's going to be a better passer this season coming up. Because we already know what he can do with his legs. He can run with the ball. He can run with his legs.
And
But
and Connolly, he played at Duncanville, right?
yes, he did.
Yeah. So I keep up with high school football just like you do. He has it in him. It's all about it all coming together. And I think the best thing for Connolly, it's like a psyche thing for quarterbacks. When you say this is my team,
You got to take ownership of it.
when you say you're that guy, your game improves like that. You have the offensive line, you have the running game. If I'm a QB on that team, I don't have to have all Conley had to do, and correct me if I'm wrong, brother, is make smart decisions. He don't ever have to be the most accurate passer because teams are going to expect PV to just run down their throat.
Right.
So they're going to be like 8-man boxes. You see how teams play PV? 8-man boxes.
Yeah. Alcorn did that this season when they played them. I think that game was on ESPN. It was on ESPNU. They played them boys tight. They had 8-man box, 7-man, 9-man box, and basically it was like, yeah, you're gonna have to beat me with your arm instead of with your leg.
Mm-hmm.
And it came down to it. And the game was close because all Prairie View needed was a touchdown to win the game. Alcorn won that game right there.
Oh, let me read
Trying to
this.
think
Shout out to brother Stephen Campbell. He said I had to check my nephew Raw True Media out. FAMU is going undefeated in the SWAC. Celebration Bowl or bust. FAMU 2002 SWAC champs.
tell Uncle Steven get on this live, man, because I got some things.
Hey, let me send a
I
link
got a
out.
bone to pick with him.
I don't know how busy he is, but I'll send the link out. Let me see, try to send them. I just sent it. But shouldn't we talk about how talented this FAMU team is? Because I've seen FAMU fans talk about their team. This got to be the best team in years. And I'm not just saying it for hyperbole. I'm not just saying it because it's the popular thing to say. If you look at from the quarterback position, offensive line, receivers, defense, DBs, FAMU, and no matter if you're a fan of theirs or not, they don't have any weaknesses.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well,
The only
it-
weakness, probably, the only weakness is they don't have that. They don't have enough big receivers.
yeah, that's their problem. Last season, the main problem for FAMU was Musa. It was Zay to move. Musa passing to Zay, and that's it. Um, they don't, you know what I'm saying? They don't have a big X receiver like that 6'2", 6'3" that um can bully the cornerbacks in extra yardage and stuff.
See,
Uh,
JSU has that. They got they got some mammoth receivers, man.
oh yeah, oh yeah, you're gonna see one on display this year too. Brandon Johnson transferred in from Idaho State.
Man, I heard he's cold, bro.
Yeah, so he's gonna be more like a red zone, but he gonna be a possession receiver. You Rico Powers, we got coming back. Um, we got we got a lot of receivers, and the ones that didn't come back. Look, we got to say, we got to say next man up.
Man, you guys ain't lying when you said Jackson State doesn't rebuild, they reload. Uh, TC Taylor is just recruiting like nobody's business. A couple players leave, he replaces them. It's truly remarkable, and I got to say this. I mentioned this in yesterday's video. Check it out if you haven't seen it. I'm tired of, and I respect athletes doing what's best for them. I get all that, but before you decide to go to a HBCU, think long and hard about the history, the impact, and legacy. Stop using HBCUs as a side piece. I think
That's my
HBCU,
show for tonight.
right. I think HBCUs deserve that respect. Uh, and this may sound petty, but if someone just randomly leaves a HBCU team, it doesn't matter if it's Jackson State, FAMU, or Grambling, any of them, and I follow them, I unfollow because I just want to. We got to show the attention to players that want to stay. Besides, it's a great feeling when you play at a HBCU and you dominate on the field, and then your name is called in the draft. That's better than a former. Look at Tank Dell. Tank Dell played at Alabama A&M
hmm
before, and now he was with Houston. Had a great career in Houston, but it's not
But
when he gets drafted. It's not going to be the same impact as anybody else from Alabama A&M getting drafted. If it's not this year, then the next year or in the future.
but look at it like this, DJ. So you talk about Alabama A&M, right?
Yeah.
From that 2021 team, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't have none of their receivers back. All of them, all of them, all of them. Only one that didn't transfer out was B. Anderson. But
That is
all their
true.
receivers gone. They gone. They at Bowling Green. Like, and then you had Tank Dell. He was behind all those dudes, so he would, in a sense, he wouldn't go see the field like that.
That's a good point. That's actually a good point, bro. That's a good point. But the
So
other,
so so in a sense, what I'm saying, in a sense,
mm-hmm.
what I'm getting at, not understandably so, you know your worth, you know your talent, and for you not to get on that field, and he been there for a minute, I had to say, well, I got to take my talent somewhere else where I know I could be shown.
Yeah, that's you made a point with that depth. Man, they were loaded.
They was loaded.
They
They
were
was
loaded
super loaded.
at receiver, man. Um, but let's talk about the elephant in the room, and I won't harp on it too much. Certain players from JSU left, Savion, and I don't think Malachi's there. So
Right, Malachi not there.
um, even throughout all that, I'm like, okay, that's cool. I was only disappointed, just like others, because I hate that for that being a trend. Like you just up and leave, and Savion, he didn't even do a one of those. You know how when players leave to another school, they put like Geronte Davis did this, like a thank you. They just up and left. So all I ask for is more respect for HBCUs.
But I also understand where TC was coming from too, man.
Yeah.
TC coming from the point where look, you got one foot in my door and one foot out the door. Which one are you gonna be?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not gonna be doing those switching sides and stuff like that. You either with us or you against us. And for those that they stuck in that portal and they thinking about coming back, TC not trying to get you back. He's not trying to get you back. And it's something like what's the kid's name? He's down in FAM. Robert Lockhart III, SRT, right?
Yeah.
He had his offer was to play at Jackson State, but his real offer was to play for Prime. Let's you know what I'm saying? Let's keep it a bean. Let's keep it a buck. You know what I'm saying? So he was only going to come to Jackson State to play for Prime. And when Prime left, I don't think Prime recruited him to go to Colorado, and he opened back his recruitment. And from what I heard, they said that he asked is the offer still on the table? They only recruited you. You know what I'm saying? You only recruited. You got the offer because of Prime. That was it.
Hey,
But don't get me wrong. He's down the FAM. That's cool.
Brother Doc, I ain't trying to interrupt because you cooking right now.
Oh yeah,
Mr. Campbell's online. I had to introduce my brother, Mr. Campbell. How you doing, my brother?
Man, listen, I'm trying to enjoy my lunch, minding my business, support my nephew because I've been missing some of your shows. And then I got people say they got a bone to pick with me just because I'm stating facts in the chat. Okay, so I need to know what this bone is that needs to be picked with the stating the obvious that FAMU is going to win the Swac. So I'm going to be quiet and give the floor to my other brother to understand what the issue he has with a great person as myself.
What's up, Uncle? What's up, Uncle?
What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing good.
What's the bone, man? Come on, the folks want to know. You say you got a bone pick with me.
Okay, man. What's up? Okay. Have y'all found some more receivers other than that's like 5'9" and under? Do y'all have any receivers on the squad that's like 6'1", 6'2", that to take top out the defense?
See, man, if you all will stop just watching Jackson State videos and be like my boy Raw Truth, my nephew, and watch everybody's team, you would have seen our spring practice with multiple receivers that look like they can play basketball. But see, this is what happened with you guys. See, you guys watched them one little video, and then you watch the little YouTube things, and also doing great stuff with Jackson State, but y'all choose not to be. See, I need y'all to grow, man. I need you all to grow. So I'm going to send you a link to our FAMU athletics, okay? And with our coach talking about our receiver room with our new receivers, and no, they're not all 5'9". We got some cats that can dunk, man. Okay, so I'm just letting you know. So even with that being, but with that being said, last I checked, we played 8 conference games. Is that right? 8 conference games.
A conference
So,
game.
okay, so we are still 14-2 with the Smurfs. Okay, so it doesn't matter who is out there on that wide, they still gonna get to the end zone, and that's all that counts. That's all that counts. So don't be worried about. It's not about the size, man. It's about the skill and the talent. Didn't none of y'all stop none of our Smurfs before, and you ain't gonna stop none of our Smurfs now. Okay. So y'all get too caught up in these measurables and stuff like that. We looking for football players, man. Florida has football players. We don't care nothing about no size or nothing like that. We from Florida, man. We play football down there, man. That's it. Come on. Worry about our size, our receivers. I tell you one thing, you had no problem with X was putting up 100 yards on everybody else in the Swac. Come on, man. And Bowler, right?
Yeah. I mean, look. I'm gonna say it just like this, Mr. Campbell. I appreciate what X did in the SWAC, though. You know what I'm saying? For him, for his size, what he did to secondaries was second to none. My other concern is the defense. I want to know what type of defensive scheme y'all gonna run this year, because the thing about it is, and we talked about this all the time, they run that four down lineman to put pressure on the quarterback, but they send everybody else back into coverage. Will you see any more like some blitzes, or you know what I'm saying, 5-man blitz, 6-man blitz for this season?
Well, I think, okay, let's talk a little bit about football. And this is where I think Jackson State had an advantage with Coach DT. He had a seasoned bunch, so they could run a lot of blitz. You got to understand something. Remember, 2 of our linebackers were new, okay? So, you can't be putting in all these schemes when you're just trying to get them to learn the first scheme, right? But guess what? We got Isaiah Major coming back. We got the other kid coming back. So now we can expand on their knowledge of just the base defense. So what I'm expecting, honestly, is not to change too much, because here's another thing, too. We got a lot of D linemen that were young, that have all played. Those guys are going to be there. And honestly, us blitzing, I think, honestly, we get in trouble when we get out of our character. I think FAMU's character is be big up front, dominate the line of scrimmage, get people in 3rd and long, and then just play defense in the back end. That's what's made us successful. When we don't get into those 3rd and longs, and we get, because I give you a perfect example. You saw this happen at the Grambling game. You saw this happen against the Alabama State game. We got cute on the defense, and we just had fluke plays instead of just playing base fundamental defense. So I think FAMU's issue is not so much as putting pressure on the quarterback. It's us being consistent and just reading our keys and being what we, as Coach Saban said, do your job. Right. We need guys just to do their job, because we got the athletes. So I think we're fine on that, again, but I think that also has to do with when you bring back more experienced players. We got more experienced players coming back on defense. I think that's going to help.
And that's why earlier in this video, this live stream, I brought up when the signing day was in wraps and FAMU had the number 2 SWAC recruiting class, or number 2 HBCU recruiting class. I said, that was a luxury. You got everybody back, and number 2 is just good. That means you got more depth, more athletes. And if FAMU, let's say they go undefeated. If they go undefeated, I'm saying this right now, if they go undefeated in the toughest the SWAC has been in years, this will be, and I'm talking about undefeated in the SWAC, because they got Power 5 schools, etc. But if they go undefeated in the SWAC, this would be one of the great teams.
Well, that's what the goal is. This honestly is technically set up, and like I say, and I hate that Shadur's gone, because like I said, I think he did great things for Jackson State. Guys know what I feel about Jackson State and everything. But this is set up for FAMU to win it, honestly. And Coach Simmons knows that. The alumni is demanding that, and it's wide open. And I see my niece KJ is in the chat. One time for KJ. But I'm going to talk about Coach Jackson State don't even know who their star quarterback is. And Andrew Body is hurt. That's why I'm saying that. This is all fact. If anybody from Jackson State can tell me right now who's going to be their starting QB, I will donate $100 to their school. That they guarantee it, that they know 100%. They don't know because even TC says it doesn't know. So how do you guys know? So you guys are bringing in a
Campbell. I do have to say this. What I'm hearing about those three quarterbacks, and the favorite I have is Jason Brown. 6'2", 230 quarterback. He's experienced. He's been there before. He would kind of be like JSU's Musa, but he has a rocket arm.
Right.
Shedur's going to be missed because he does the precision passing, the high football IQ that's out of this world. That's going to be missed. But they have legit quarterback depth. With Jackson State, and I've seen Zoe mention this many a times, I want to see how they look in the middle of the season. I like to give new coaches a benefit of the doubt. I know they got great great coordinators, both defense and offense. Offensively with Maurice Harris, who I believe is one of the best offensive minds in the FCS. So they'll move the ball. It's just you know how these things go with new coach, chemistry, just style of play. But I'm taking a wait and see approach how Jackson State will look, but I am hearing that they have a lot of talent.
No. I'm not talking about that, but let's think about Jackson State is in the position that FAMU was in the last 2 years. Okay, so that first game, we're bringing the experienced quarterback. Okay, and this is what happens: we lose that first game, the Swac race was over. No matter what we did, Jackson was not going to lose another game. So it's the same thing. You guys are breaking in a new quarterback. We broke in a new quarterback for the last 2 years, right? Because we had McKay the first year. You guys had Shedeur. And that was what? The game was 7-6? So there you go. Okay. We break in a new quarterback again. Shedeur knows the total offense. You guys have that bomb squad and blow us out. Now it's reversed. Moose has been there 2 years. He knows the offense. He knows what's going on. We had an experienced quarterback. And this is the only thing I'm saying. And again, we can trash talk. But I've been watching the Swac since 1977, okay? And I can tell you, I can literally name every Swac championship, and it's going to be one thing that's been consistent. They've had either the best quarterback or the best defense.
Right.
You don't win the Swac with average quarterback play.
Nah.
So that you can just look for the last 50 years of the Swac, and I will show you that guy has probably been all Swac type quarterback. So this is the problem with what's happening with everybody else. It's just the fact that either people have left or have graduated, and then for, like I say, Texas Southern, like I say, Andrew's hurt, but they're on the other side of the bracket. And my thing is, I think everybody in the West is just going to beat up on everybody. We're not losing anybody in the East. We're just not.
But I'm gonna say it like this, Mr. Campbell. I'm gonna say it like this though. It's gonna be one. In the East, it's gonna be 1, 2, 3. Either gonna be Jackson State, FAMU, or Alabama State. You know what I'm saying? You could say Jackson State might be 1, FAMU might be 2, Alabama State might be 3. You could flip flop it. You know what I'm saying? You could switch it all around. But like you said, with the Western Division, everybody's gonna be. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's gonna beat up on everybody.
Oh, everybody. And it's gonna, and this is what's gonna happen, which happened last year, right? So you had all those inconsistent quarterback play. Andrew gets hurt. Southern gets in through the back door, which they didn't even deserve to be there. It's gonna be the same thing.
They shouldn't deserve,
Jackson State is gonna have all that talent. And again, Jackson State's gonna be good. I don't think anybody again is gonna beat Jackson State again, other than us. Because I think defensively, again, what I'm talking about, Jackson State is going to be, they probably will still have the best defense when you're still looking at the pieces that they have overall. But I just think that quarterback play with Musa knowing what to do. And again, and I'm just going to tell you something. Sometimes pressure is good when you have expectations. And I think this is good for FAMU because there was no expectation in the last 2 years, right? Oh, we lose to Jackson, everything. Yeah, and like I said, we were like, oh, we're not going to beat Jackson. But now the pressure's on FAMU. And that's good sometimes. Sometimes you have to go in there knowing that you are the hunted. And you got to have a certain mentality every day in practice to know that we've got a goal in mind is to get to the Celebration Bowl. I think that's good for FAMU. So I think for that first game, and again, this is what, everybody wants to move that game back. And I understand that too. This is why I think this is going to be the reverse. I think this is just going to, that whoever lines up at Jackson State, it's just going to be their first game. And it's just facts. And that's a big game, man. That, like I said, if you have not been down in Miami and the magnitude of that game and what it is on TV and all that and the hype and the names, Jackson State and FAMU, those are big HBCU names. That's playing, you know what I'm saying? That game's on TV. So that game's bringing a lot to what everybody wants to see. And for a quarterback to come in there and, kind of, new coach. So like I say, I think Jackson State's going to be fine. I don't think they're going to lose a bunch of games. I think they're going to be rocking and rolling. I just think that first game is what hurts. Now, would I want to play Jackson State on the back end when they kind of rolling? Then we would see, that's different. But that's my point. That's my point. So like I say, hey, man, I will take again, I have won alumni bets and when I bet, I don't pay you money. I'm going to donate it to your school. So I have had North Carolina A&T folks donate to FAMU. I've had Southern folks donate to FAMU. So any of you Jackson State folks want to donate to FAMU's athletic department, let me know. I will easily take 4. And I tell you what, Raw Truth, this is what we're going to do since you my guy, right? This is what I'm going to do. I will do 3 bets of $100, okay? But what I will also do, because you my guy, I will donate $100 to your channel. And then you can do whatever you want with it. So that's how confident I am that FAMU is going to whoop all these jokers behind. So I ain't worried about it. So if you got a school that want to bet, hey, I got 3 $100 bets because I'm doing I got other stuff I do with my money. And I can't be just giving out bets and stuff like that. But I got an easy 300 handing in my pocket. I got some C notes.
Put me on that bet, Mr. Campbell.
Okay, now Ron, you hear this right? So this is what we're gonna do.
It's on wax.
Listen, I want you now. Here's what you got to do, Ron. Yeah, you got to have a show after these games, like on that Monday, because I need these suckers to go and admit I was right. Okay, okay. So I need to.
Hey, I'm fair. So
yeah.
Hey, when Jackson State lost to North Carolina Central, people were surprised how fair I was just giving. They're like, man, you're not mad that they lost. I said I was disappointed that the coaching was bad, but when someone balls out, I give them props, man. I don't care what team it is. Competition should be embraced. Competition is fun. I just want to see 2 teams go all out and put on a good show, and for these players to go to the next level.
Well, see, that's why again. Everybody knows. I know a lot of y'all guys. You know me and you talk, but I respect each one of you guys the way you do your thing the way you do it, and that's what makes this show great because that's the way you do it. You see what I'm saying? You ain't trying to be nobody else but the way you do it. So that's why I'm sitting up here. I say, hey man, let me make sure I'm eating me some bacon. I'm some grits, some eggs, and then I hear my other nephew call me out. So you know what I mean? So I had to jump on. But absolutely. So that's perfect, man. Like I said, I enjoy the show. And like I said, for all y'all in that chat that want to lose your money, y'all know, first of all, my phone number is public. It's been this.
I want you to get my money.
We got Brother Bakari on the line.
That's the only reason I came up. I was listening. I accept that bet.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, I told her I'll get that bet right there too.
So that's 2. So that's 2 Jack State folks. I want to make sure. Okay. So that's 2 Jack. So that's easy, man. $200, man. That might get us almost half of a helmet for FAMU. So that's good. Let me get one more person from Jack State so I can just go on. Because see, what'll be nice. I will get the call to AD. Tiffany's on site. And DJ, I'm gonna try to see if I can get her to come on the show to accept the money. You see what I'm saying? My AD, they accept the money on FAMU's behalf when we take it.
Mr. Campbell, man, I've been looking at these interviews for FAMU, right? You have a good team with your head coach just smile every interview. This brother smiling like nobody's business. And I'm
listen,
like
reloaded.
He must have got a good team.
Now this is so you gotta understand something. Think about Willie. This is his 4th year, okay? So he's got his freshman class that are now all those guys are seniors. They know what to do, right? And like I said, one thing I'm never gonna disrespect Deanna is let other players know how great coming to an HBCU is. So look at all these players that we've gotten that have come from Power 5s that have gone to all our HBCUs, right? Look at the players that FAMU has got. And see, this is the thing where everybody at FAMU is excited. Because see, man, we got a bunch of kids that leave Florida, right? And go play for some Southwest state or whatever. But now they like, man, I don't want to be there. I'm going to come back to FAMU. I can show you kid after kid that was a Floridian. I think we signed like 8 kids that were former Floridians, right? That went out of state and out at FAMU. So that's Florida talent. That's how you build it. So that's why he's smiling, man. He's looking like, man, we are stacked every position. And like I say again, and luck kind of fell our way. Again, Shadur's not here, and that's been the JSU, that's been a FAMU stopper. Shadur's killed us, and we killed everybody. So that makes the difference because again, if you know football, as much talent Jack State had on defense, when you took Shadur off that offense, the team you saw it. Yeah, it's a whole different team, and that's no disrespect. It's just fact. That's how special Shadur was. It just shows you how he put everybody here. But you take that QB off, then Alabama A&M was like, oh, we might be able to win this game. They really thought they had a chance because Shadur went out.
Hey, Mr. Campbell, I got to read this. Brother Israel Carey said, FAMU will have to put 30-plus points to beat JSU. Can they do it? Question mark.
Look, man, Israel is from Jackson, right? And he's from North Jackson. And I know Israel. But one thing about what part of North Jackson from, he's still delusional. See, that's what happens. See, everybody in North Jackson ain't saying like me. You see what I'm saying? See, he come from the delusional part of Jackson. So see, that's delusional. So I tease with Israel. Me and him talk. He a good brother. He loves Jackson State, and that is awesome. But bro, we ain't got to score no 30 to beat Jackson State, man. Come on, man. We ain't got to score 30. Hey, first of all, neither one of those defenses are going in this game, okay? And I'm talking about not last year. I'm talking about this game. The defenses are both going to be too good. And I think this game is going to be more like the first game. Not 7-6. I think this game is going to be like 24-17 max. I think this thing is going to be a tussle, man.
That's what I was looking for in that first game we played in the OBC. I was looking for something like a 21-17 or 24-21. You know what I'm saying? 30, even 30-27. Something in that, a score in that range. I did not know it was going to be 7-6. I bid, minus the rain, because it was like a monsoon down there, and basically everybody trying to gel together, trying to find their bearings for the first game. But I'm looking to see if it's going to be something like that. But that 7-6, it was a good game, but it was an ugly game at the same time.
Yeah, I just think that I don't think that anybody's going to be putting up 30. I think this game is going to be, one of those games that, it's cliche, turnover and who's going to run the ball, right? That's what it's going to be about. And I think people are going to try to run the ball because I don't think either one of those teams is just going to be explosively just making big plays. I think most of these teams are more fundamentally sound than that. So, like I said, again, last year, we came in that game bad. That was when we had all that turmoil at the beginning of the season. Everybody knew what it was. We didn't know who was even playing down in Miami. And Jack State played a great game. I mean, like I said, respect to them. I'm not going to never take away from the way Jack State played. They played an excellent game. They played excellent the last 2 years. But I just think that it's just our time because it's the same thing we had with Grambling. When they had Kincaid, they were back-to-back Swac champs. Kincaid leaves, and everybody like, and Grambling went undefeated in the Swac for 2 years. So this is not like this is unusual in the Swac. You see what I'm saying? So everybody was like, oh, Jack State made this run. Grambling just made that same run 2 years ago. Because guess what? They had the best quarterback in the Swac. That's how it works, man. So I'm hoping that Musa is the best quarterback in the Swac. That's what we're expecting.
And Jackington 47 says 61-9 easy. They don't know what the end zone look like, but keep the same energy in the meantime.
What? So I love people like that, right? So that's beautiful. That's excellent. You're right. But guess what? Last I checked, this 2023. So we were talking about 2023. So that's the only thing I'm focused on. So yes, I've fully not. Jack State, we lost the first game, 7-6. Jack State blew us out. Now, you happy? See, I don't mind acknowledging that. So I'm not delusional. Okay? So we lost. But we talking 2023. I'm going to say this again. You don't even know who your quarterback is. So until or I tell you what better. Instead of getting in the chat, tell him to call up, put that $100 up. If he believe that, that's it.
You sounding a little delusional. But anyway. Hey, but you know what? What's your name, man? Because I'm going to get out. I just want to look, man. I just heard you talking. I want to take that bet. You know what? I got another buddy from FAMU. Made it to the NFL from FAMU. Played like 8 seasons in the league. Chad Fan. You ever heard of him?
Absolutely. Big Chad fan tight end number 85, FAMU. Come on, man.
Yeah, that's my homie.
All right. Well, see,
Yeah,
so you a halfway good person then, if you cool with Chad.
So I'm gonna talk noise to him and his brother after we whoop y'all. after we whoop y'all again. After we whoop y'all again. But yeah, Chad, good people. We gonna whoop y'all again. You know, but I was hoping FAMU had gone to the playoffs last year. I'm gonna be honest, and got it and won. You know what? It's good for the HBCUs it's good to see FAMU had a good recruiting class. Jackson State got a good recruiting class. It's good to see other players want to come back for whatever reason. It's good, and it's time. Jackson State, I believe Jackson State gonna beat Texas State. I don't know who FAMU got on their schedule, what FBS school, but if it's not just a major Power 5, I saw the way they played North Carolina State. Wasn't that North Carolina State last year they played? You could tell FAMU just got tired. That game was closer than the score. And it's time for us. I'm gonna still talk noise to you, but it's time for us to whoop them other schools too, and that's what I'm banking on. So after Jackson State whoop FAMU, I'll be pulling for. But Jackson State gonna whoop y'all though. They're gonna whoop y'all pretty good too.
You know, see, nephew, that like I say, I'll gladly accept this man's money on behalf of FAMU. Ain't no problem. Like I said, I'm undefeated in my alumni bets. Just letting y'all know. So, okay. So that's all I got. I'm going to let you guys go. Great show. You know where to find me. And we got 2 people already, right? So we need one more, right? One more person for the 300, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So we got one more slot.
Jack 40 into 47. So this ain't poker. I ain't bluffing. So you're part of the bet. I see.
He this ain't poker. Okay. Again, he sees the link, or he can DM you or whatever. Okay. Yeah. Or in the chat say I accept it. So other than that, see, let me tell you something, man. I'm from Jackson and I'm from FAMU. We don't talk about it, we be about it. So I've already said what I said. Either put your money up or just watch the game. That's it. All right, man. I'm out. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you for being on.
Yeah, man. Love the show, brother. You know it.
No doubt. Mr. Campbell, man. That's...
You know who he ain't talking about, though? You know who he ain't talking about, DJ?
Well,
we ain't talking about Grambling.
Oh, Grambling. Oh, man, we need to talk about Grambling because I want them to run the ball more.
We ain't talk about Grambling. Shout out to Coach Hugh Jackson, man. Shout out to him. First and foremost, what he said, he put out something on his Instagram about different races getting reparations, and at the bottom of the list was African American, 1865 to present, where we haven't gotten nothing since. But shout out to him for bringing that awareness in, and then shout out for his social media presence, for letting his kids, his players and his kids rock out on the social media aspect, like for real. You know what I'm saying, with the cars and playing and you know what I'm saying. He just in the background, just cooling like somebody, like somebody big uncle right there.
And one thing I respect about Coach Hugh Jackson, as well as Willie Simmons and Eddie George, and these brothers that are changing the game, their transparency, very upfront. I even mentioned this months ago when the whole Deion thing happened, and I was giving them an analogy. I said, if Willie Simmons ever decides to go FBS, FAMU will do a tribute for him. FAMU will congratulate him. And I remember people saying, well, that's hypocrisy. I replied and said, no, because Willie Simmons did things the right way. He didn't alienate FAMU. He never disrespected FAMU. Even when all that stuff went down, he kept it low key under wraps because he didn't want to put a bad spotlight on FAMU. So it's how you carry yourself. Hugh Jackson, when he posts things, it's more than football. It's more than just analytics, man. He's talking about life. So I hope Grambling does well. We need the blue bloods of the SWAC to have good records, to compete, to be respectable,
Yeah, those
record
blue
wise.
bloods. We gotta the blue bloods. We have to be up there. We have to make sure that we win because it puts respectability back on our conference.
Exactly. Oh, mentioning one thing about Grambling, the transfer from Alabama State. I had his name down. I said it
Miles
before.
Crawley.
Miles Crawley. I think Hugh Jackson can do something with him. He can fix his game because he has the tools. 6'4", 215.
Oh
Has
yeah.
an adequate arm, really good arm. But then again, you may not. We don't even know who's going to be the quarterback. What about Chavez? Played as a freshman. Maybe he gets better. So I'm going to pay attention to Grambling State. We know they got some athletes there. They got running backs. They added more size at the offensive line. I really hope they do well. I don't know what record they'll be. I just hope it's a lot better than last year.
I think to me, I feel like with Grambling, they was a quarterback away from having a decent record, even a 500 record. Certain games that you watched them. They play hard. Um, for example, you look at the Bayou Classic when they played Southern for 3 quarters. They played pretty much almost mistake-free football, and then the fourth quarter came, and they basically it kind of basically fell apart. Turnovers, messed them over. But with Grambling, um, they have a good stable of running backs, so all the pressure don't have to be on Miles Crawley. Um, they have a good stable of running backs. They are loaded on the defensive line. Their offensive line is big. I don't know if they're mobile, but they're big. Um, so you probably will see a different team with Grambling this season, and remember those freshmen that was there that came in, Chance and Floyd, all those guys, even Julian Calvez. Um, those freshmen gonna be sophomores, so they got some experience on top of them. Um, Another team. I mean, yeah, you just said it. Alcorn. Um, Bringing in Tyler Macon
Oh
from
man,
Missouri.
that's a good addition, man.
That is a good addition. They did lose quite a bit on the defense, especially the defensive coordinator who went up to Jackson. But I'm looking at them to have the same defensive intensity and the same defensive play that y'all saw when they played Jackson in the Soul Bowl. Get to the quarterback, cause havoc, um, and then Agent Zero, Jarvion Howard. That that's gonna make that's who gonna make the engine go for Alcorn. This man already said he was at the pro day for Jackson State, the pro day, combined pro day for Jackson State. He said his goal is to go for 2,000.
Oh man.
That came. Go watch Blues. Watch Blues interview with him. That came directly out of his mouth. His goal is to go for 2,000 and to win the Swac. I don't know if they win the Swac, but if Lord willing, if he stays healthy and he averages like 230, 240 on the ground, then I see him getting 2,000 yards.
But this all goes into play of what this video, this live stream is all about. There probably won't be anyone going undefeated. And we know FAMU is very talented, but I keep telling people, watch out for Alcorn, watch out for Alcorn, watch out for Alcorn. Tyler Macon with Javion Howard, the running game. Lost their defensive coordinator, but they have studs on defense. And you're coached by Coach Fred McNair, who has recruited a lot better. This is one of his best recruiting classes ever, probably. Was he getting 3 stars before this? Like at
Uh,
this amount, like multiple 3 stars.
I wouldn't know that he would get multiple 3 stars, but sure, he was. I think he's been putting together a good team,
Yeah,
and just by him, with the last name McNair, sure, that's Swac royalty. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
another team we ain't even talked about either. They just got a new head coach a couple months ago, Pine Bluff.
Man,
We
they've been
don't know
hush
what's
hush, bro. We
they
don't know
they
how
they've
they
been on
gonna
the
be.
hush. They've been on the hush. I guess that's how Alonzo Hampton wants to have it going on. Um, but you'll see some. You'll probably see something for their spring game. Their main issue was quarterback. Skylar Perry is no longer there. He's graduated and moved on, so he has to find a new signal caller. They lost Kayvon Britton, who was the second leading rusher in the SWAC. He transferred out. I forgot what school he went to, but it's just like it said. Just keep saying it. Next man up.
Oh, Mr. Campbell says the swag needs Grambling to be good, so the Bayou Classic means something. Ain't that the
It
truth?
do. It do. You need both of those schools to be good. You need both of them. You need both Grambling and Southern to be good for the Bayou Classic to mean something. I see what Israel said. He said all West teams must see Prairie View. I mean,
Mm.
that's true. They have to see Prairie View, but the one who won the division, you gotta knock them off. You gotta knock off Southern.
Yeah, my fam, some of them went to PV, and some of them are just fans of PV. They keep telling me, man, don't sleep on PV. Don't sleep on PV. They're gonna be something to see. And I was like, okay, but I believe a good running game and defense that wins you games. Again,
Yeah,
quarterback position. As long as it's steady, the quarterback doesn't have to be a star for this PV team because they have an elite running game. That's a luxury. Um, Smart decisions with the quarterback play that will increase their win total. Shout out to the brother Zoe Phillips Tiger Talk. Uh, he said tissue will be the same.
talk
TSU,
about TSU.
Texas Southern.
Well, with
For
Texas
Texas
Southern,
Southern, I'm intrigued with Texas Southern because when you return so much upper class talent, one would think, okay, you can only go but up.
yeah,
And there were a couple of games that they were in last year. What was their overall record last year, Doc?
five
Texas
and
Southern?
six,
5 and
five and
6.
six, 5 and 6.
And there were about what, 2 to 3 games they could have won.
Yep, it
So
was.
they're right there.
Mm-hmm. It was 3 games they could have won. Um, of course, the last game of the season when they played Alabama A&M, like I said, if Andrew Body didn't get hurt in that game, late in the game, they had a 3 touchdown lead.
Mm-hmm.
Um, A&M don't come back. They don't come back. Um, You look at the game. I will say they blew it. That well, they didn't blow out Alcorn, but they jumped on Alcorn. Um, Alcorn, he threw 3 interceptions in that game. That Aaron Allen, he threw 3 interceptions in that game. Prairie View, the first game of the season. That's the reason why I said Texas Southern has to beat Prairie View at the beginning of the year to put themselves in that driver's seat on the West. Looking at that game, the game started at 8 because it was supposed to start at 6. It was a rain. It was almost a 2-hour rain delay. Prairie View jumps out on them by 3 touchdowns because Texas Southern, Andrew Body basically threw 2 interceptions, damn near back to back in that game, and Prairie View capitalized on all that. Then Conley really even throw in that game, and you saw the run game for Prairie View just take off, like watching them playing a veer type offense, and basically Conley and all those other running backs that's on that team just go for like 30, 40, 50-yard touchdown runs and stuff. Texas Southern made it a game in the third quarter, but then after that fourth quarter, man, Prairie View just put the pedal to the metal and closed the game out. Well, that's why I was like,
No, I was reading the same. Miracle Sports says all SWAC schools feel JSU will turn to the bottom because they don't believe TC can coach and motivate. Well, I believe, and I know for a fact TC can coach, and his coaching staff is not only going to have a focus group, but they're going to have their players fundamentally sound. I'm not going to say everything will be perfect because this is his first year, but I have a strong feeling that Jackson State will showcase high-level talent. I'm not predicting records. I'm not going to say they're going to go undefeated. It's too early to even predict that. But they're not going to be a slouch. Even Mr. Campbell came on here and said, Jackson State, they're going to put up a defense. They're going to put up a talented offense. He knows this. People who know football knows this. And I know it's just clips looking at Jason Brown and then Philip Short and Zion McDonald. But they have the traits in the quarterback position that could win you games. Zoe said, so 6 of 5 is up for them. Zoe,
I mean, for a young team, yeah, it is. For a young team, it is. And then remember too, they played 2 FBS schools too. They played North Texas and they played
UTSA.
UTSA. And I know I said if by 5 times. Yeah, if for some fifth, we all be drunk.
But hey, man, we need to call Texas Southern the if team. But it's a strong if because if they figure it out, and you know I said if, now I'm saying if they figured it out, then they're going to be taking away somebody's wins.
Yeah.
But that PV game is going to tell us everything we need to know about Texas Southern. And that's not going to be an easy first game.
They got to win it. And they playing in Houston. They are playing at the Shell. That's what my boy Craig said. They playing at the Shell.
And I need all my fellow Houstonians to represent PV fans, Texas Southern fans. That game needs to be packed. Now, it doesn't have the same implications as Jackson State FAMU that it always has, because usually the winner of that game even though this is a different year, usually the winner of the Jackson State FAMU game dictates who's going to win the east side of the division. This game between PV and Texas Southern may implement it, but there's so many teams that could beat each other up in the West that you don't even know.
Right.
But you do want to see Texas Southern put out an established product on the field. Israel Carey says, I don't see much Texas sports media. Where can I find some? I know one of Sarge. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of them. He's from Houston, so. Spence says, who has been?
Jackson State.
Yeah,
Of course.
that's JSU.
JSU. So games to look for on both in both divisions. So let's start with the Western Division.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, we already said the Labor Day Classic, Prairie View, TSU.
Yeah.
That's an important game. Also, Prairie View, Grambling. I would say Texas Southern, Alcorn, and Prairie View and Southern. I would say the Bayou Classic, but to me, that's always a given. But on the East, East Division, of course, it's going to be Jackson State, FAMU. You're looking at FAMU, Alabama State was a
that's
good
a
game.
sneaky one right there.
That's a sneaky one. It was a good game towards the end. None of the team could move the ball worth a damn, but like they couldn't move the ball worth a damn. That special teams play was terrible because it was windy out there. But FAMU, they took it to the crib. They blocked the field goal, took it to the crib. Game over.
Let me read this one. Spence Matthews says, first year, 1 point. Second year, 56 points. Why y'all keep saying FAMU is close to JSU? Have they proven it? Well, the first game was close. The second game was when Jackson State played a complete game. And I've always said that when JSU plays a complete game, nobody beats them. That's against anybody in the FCS. That's what I believe and so many others believe. But the reason why a lot of folks feel, and rightfully so, FAMU and JSU are close, we're talking about this year. The edge to FAMU is their experience. This is going to be their most experienced team in years. Now, is that going to guarantee them a win? No, there's no guaranteed wins. But all the pressure is on FAMU.
Mm-hmm.
The pressure's not on Jackson State because they got a new coach and new players, even though they're damn talented. So Jackson State, they're going into the game. Yeah, they want to win the game, the first game, but they also want to continue to establish their new identity. And that game may be close. But think about it. FAMU, besides losing to Jackson State, who else have they lost to in the Swac in the past 2 years?
Nobody.
Exactly. That's why. That's why. Nobody but Jackson State has beaten them.
Yep.
I don't know why the Orange Blossom Classic is not close to the end of the year. But I get it, just historically they played it around September, early September.
Well, historically the Orange Blossom Classic used to be a bowl game.
Yeah,
So it used to be the bowl. Yeah, it was the bowl game. So they used to play it towards the end of the year.
but now they're in the same conference, so it changes things.
Right.
But really, what people are not talking about is FAMU, Jackson State. They generate so much money, and I'm sure the commissioner is like, there's one game to generate a lot of money that you could play early. That's the Orange Blossom Classic. They think about stuff like this. What game can drive up a lot of money that's not a rival? Jackson State FAMU is not a rivalry. See, when Jackson State plays Southern at the end of the year, it's a rivalry. You ain't gonna move that the first game. When Jackson State plays Alcorn State, you're not gonna move that the first game. So I understand it. I just wish it was the end, but I understand that since they're in the same conference as Jackson State, it's the only way to generate money, being the first game of the year and being a marquee match. Israel Carey says, how much longer will JSU be in the Orange Blossom Classic?
This our last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this our last year. We only signed a 3-year deal for the Orange Blossom Classic.
Then it'll be just a regular match.
Yeah. So it'll be home and home.
That's gonna be interesting. Spence Matthews says FAMU has only proven they can beat everyone else. Alabama State showed that they are closer to FAMU than FAMU is closer to Jackson State. And again, I'm only judging by this year.
Let's see.
And I'm only judging that FAMU this year is a whole lot better than last year's team and a whole lot better than the team prior to that.
FAMU last 4 years, they have went 9-2, 9-2, 9-3, 9-2. So the first 2 years, they've lost to North Carolina A&T and Bethune. Of course, 2021, Jackson State. 2022, Jackson State and UNC. They other than that, they have ran through either the MEAC or the Swac when they lost to those teams right there.
Man, that's a damn good record, man.
That's a damn good record. That's a damn good record for Willie Simmons. That's a damn good record right there. It's just the fact that you can't beat the teams that you can either favor for or you're even with that team.
Man, it's gonna be a fun year, bro. Thank you, Doc, for joining the show. You know, you're always welcome, your family. And make sure to subscribe to HBCU Overdrive with Doc Holliday. Excellent show, one of the most underrated content on the web. Doing YouTube is always important to link up and associate with people with good character, people who want to build with others. And that's why it's always a joy to have Doc on the show to give his opinion, his insightfulness. And any last words, Doc, before we roll out?
Man, I'm just ready for some football to start.
No doubt. Man, it's like it's one of the few times in my life I wish I had a time machine just to skip over.
Man, I'm ready for football to start, but I know baseball season starting up now. Shout out to my Braves and them Astros. The Stros gonna take it again.
Oh yeah.
It might be a
Damn
world.
right.
I'm gonna say it like this. I'm gonna say it like this. It might be a Astros Braves World Series, and then I'm gonna be conflicted.
Woo, woo. Man, if that happens, bro. Well, at least there's somebody in Houston winning.
Oh yeah,
I'm like, shoot, the Houston Cougars let me down, man. Bro, this was the easiest year to win the championship, and they fumbled the bag.
yeah.
And
Uh,
they keep talking about next year. Man, next year's not gonna be as easy as this year.
nah.
When you got no number one seeds in the final four and no number two seeds, you don't even have a 3 seed in the final four this year.
Uh, I don't know if we talking about HBCU, but shout out to University of Texas making Rodney Perry the full-time head coach over there for the basketball team. What
Yeah,
he did with that team
man.
after that, yeah,
No, I'm just saying that HBCU or not, when a brother that put in work like Rodney Terry, he's a Texas native, and he exceeded expectations. Man, congratulations to him. Good brother.
mm,
Blue Blood says Willie was the OC for Alcorn State when they won the Swac under Jay.
yeah, that had to be 2014 because then he 2015 he went over to Prairie View. Okay, thank you. I thought it was North Carolina A&T. It was somebody, but I know Bethune beat them the last 2 years. Um,
Oh yeah, shout out to the Blue Bloods, man. I've been checking out the pro day media coverage. Did a damn good job. Here, we salute anyone putting in work, man. Keep doing what you're doing, the Blue Bloods. He said FAMU technically should have won the MEAC in 2019,
yep.
but they were on probation. That is right. Remember that. So FAMU hasn't won a championship under Coach Simmons. I hate to say it because what Blue Blood said in 2019, that was their year. I can't really
Yeah.
blame Willie Simmons for them being on probation.
APR probation.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with Willie Simmons. He's a damn good coach. He's a winner, man, and FAMU's blessed to have him to still be coaching. Most coaches move on after 4 years, well, even sooner than that. So for them to have him as a head coach still, and to keep that culture going, man, that's a blessing. Israel Carey says maybe this will be FAMU's year. They're due for a conference championship. A wink. Are you trying to
Only
jinx
way
them,
they,
brother?
bro, the only way they do for a conference championship if the SWAC do away with the divisions.
Best record. I like that idea, actually. Blue Blood says Willie stepped in a tough situation, but I think they have to win the East this year. If not, the patience is going to be thin with fans.
hmm
But and if Jackson State beats FAMU this year, after everything that's went on, getting new players and etc., they may have to make a 30 for 30 out of this. After prime, AP. Called a 30 for 30 AP after prime. How one coach, TC Taylor, resurrected the true history of the I Love. AP after prime.
I'm roll up. I got a show tonight, 8 o'clock.
No doubt, man. You do
We
your
talking
thing, man.
about it's
Hey,
gonna be on HBC players using HBCU as JUCOs.
Hey, y'all make sure to tune in, man. Support HBC Overdrive, Doc Holiday, man. Thank you for being on the show, brother.
Anytime, bro.
No doubt. Damn good show today, man. Shout out to everyone that's tuned in. Make sure to like, share this video throughout all social media platforms. Ever since I made that Neely video, I'm noticing that people are not getting the notifications. It's very odd. It's weird, but hey, the show goes on. Thank you for supporting this channel. Israel Carey says, if JSU beats FAMU this year, it's a wrap. Finetto. The Blue Blood says, JSU has won 4 straight against FAMU. Even when they sucked, they were beating FAMU. Yeah, that is true. Even when they had their down years, they beat FAMU. But man, can you just imagine if Jackson State beat this FAMU team? They're going to have to be in front page of ESPN. In all seriousness, man, I think it's going to be a good matchup. And this is what we want. We want competition. We don't want cupcake games. We don't want games to be blowouts. You know, if it's a blowout, it is what it is. But really, I just want a high-level competition in the Swac. That's all I ask for. This is Raw Truth Media, giving you the raw content that you deservedly need. Peace and blessings, and I'm out.